Hello, everybody. I'm going to pin this. Welcome back to this show, which is Asian mental health talks that are definitely inspired by my golden goddess affirmations. I want to start with saying that this live show, well, I don't know. What a weird way to start. This live show will keep going, but also I'm going to make Golden Goddess affirmations a podcast soon. That's kind of in my head. So I'm going to be talking to Asian women about their mental health and their lives and how that all intertwines. And we're going to use the affirmations kind of as a starting place for our discussions. And yeah, so I'm just going to put that out there that's going to happen. That's something that I'm very much starting to plan and I'm very much excited about. I don't know if it will just be a live show or if it's just going to be a straight up podcast. We will see. Part of me is like, it's going to be a live show. But I think I'll always keep these live shows to just like talk about things. That's in my head. That could definitely change. But yes, Golden Goddess affirmation podcast will happen, and Asian mental health talks will always happen just because obviously this is something I'm really passionate about. So let's get down to it. Today our affirmation is, I work hard and deserve to be valued and treated with respect at work. So I titled this talk Work and Respect. Yes, that's what I called it. And I want to talk about being valued at work and work culture in general. So I live in America. So I'm Filipino American. And in America is a capitalist society, right? And to be clear, capitalism isn't inherently bad. It's just an idea, right? It's an idea. Just like communism is not inherently bad. It's just an idea. There's like different ways, of running a society, and a lot of the ways are just like, they're neutral. Obviously, they all have good and bad applications, but I also want to very much stress that the human application of these ideals is usually what goes wrong. They themselves, capitalism itself, is not bad, or at least I don't think that, but I'm pretty sure, again, it's an idea. So it's an idea. Capitalism in America has gone horribly awry, in my opinion. And that is definitely my opinion. To the point where I feel like, and many people feel this now, right? There's this whole anti-work movement coming about. And a lot of the anti-work sentiment isn't literally anti-work. It's not that people don't want to work. It's that people don't want to be taken advantage of. People don't want to be working, 14-hour days, just covering other people's shifts, not being paid a living wage, and being treated like crap, being treated like they're stupid. They don't want that, which is super fair. Work in America is ridiculous. For us being America and us being a first world country, we're really behind in social aspects like this, our work culture. And so I wanted to bring this up. Again, this affirmation reads, I work hard and deserve to be valued. Yes. Let's start again. I work hard and deserve to be valued and treated with respect at work. Those are important words. And let me speak from being a Filipino woman. Let's start with the woman part. So, sexism is super real, right? Let's start with that. Sexism is super real. Inequality of payment for women versus men, that's real. Unequal pay, there you go. That's a much easier way to say that. Is real. Also, work can be really hard for women. Like working at an office can be really hard. Sexual harassment is real. Also, you know, a lot of different places, to be very honest, is like a boys club. And there are unfortunately many examples of women being excluded from that club, even if it's a man's fault. What a strange way of putting that. So there was a story I was reading the other day. It was an article, and it was about this woman who basically was sexually harassed by a male coworker. She told HR, went straight to HR. HR resolved it and fired the person because he repeatedly, like, it was an ongoing thing. So it's not even like the first time. Which honestly, it should be okay if it's the first time to fire someone. So she reported her sexual harasser. They got fired. And from there, she was outcasted at work. She was just, labeled like, blah, blah is going to get you fired. She's the person to get you fired. Don't talk to her. And she was talking about how, like, yeah, everyone like ostracized her. They didn't even ask her why, like what happened. They just assumed like, oh, it was her fault. And then a new male coworker came, and he was kind of wary of her. But then they got into this conversation, and he said to her, yeah, it's true. You do have this reputation of someone not to talk to because you'll get someone fired. And so she told her story about going to HR because she's being sexually harassed over and over. And her new coworker was like, oh, I had no idea. And the thing is, like, no one had any idea because she didn't come out and make a fuss. She went to HR, which is, what she saw was a professional thing to do, and it's still bit her in the butt. So all of that to just describe how, unfortunately, many workplaces can be hard for women to exist in. And for me personally, it's not even those kind of things when it comes to sexual harassment, but just I've answered phones many times for my job or for other volunteer situations. And, I get called sweetie a lot. I get talked to a certain way because I'm a woman. It's really unfortunate and very annoying. And it's a normal thing. And, these kind of things get reported over and over because, like, it exists. And for me, I've also experienced that sexism from other women who were in charge of me, who wouldn't listen to the facts that I've acquired for them. They're just like, no, that can't be right. You must be wrong, and then whatever, go over my work and micromanage me. And then for my male counterpart who I'm working with, that never happens. If anything, they're just like, oh, you're the grandson I've never had. And I'm like, oh my gosh, which is very difficult. And I think, to be honest, like, women, we got to get it together, especially older women. Get it together. Look at yourself and ask yourself if you're actually helping other women in the workplace, or if you too are being sexist and creating unequal treatment. It's just something that we need to look at. Women, if we really want to elevate each other, we need to look at microaggressions, and we need to look at what progress looks like now versus what it looked like in the 70s. So I work hard and deserve to be valued and treated with respect at work. For me, again, being a girl and woman, it's really hard for me to ask for what I want. It seems very weird because I think I've been taught to be amicable, right? A lot of girls who then grow into women are taught to be amicable. We're taught to be like the peacekeepers, the peacemakers, and things become not about us and where we are at work and not about our careers, but keeping the whole company together, which shouldn't be a bad thing. But then unfortunately, we then don't get those opportunities to talk about ourselves, right? It's just something to think about. And it's just something that I've been thinking about. And it's really hard. It is difficult for me to ask for what I want or say what I want, even if it's something that I need. And here comes like the mixture of the Asian part of me, where I feel like In many Asian cultures, work ethic is a big thing. It's such a big thing. It's a thing, that we're proud of. I had one friend in college who said, she was like, there isn't always love, but there's work ethic. And she was talking about like Asian families. And that's really sad, but I like understood what she said. There isn't always like a showing of love, right? Showing love, expressing emotion, expressing tenderness, that isn't always there within Asian families. But the work ethic is there. Work ethic is always there from grandma. Like, and in my family, my grandma was always working. She was either gardening, she was gardening for her neighbors. She like babysat. She did not speak a lick of English. And like my grandmother just like went around, was all over our neighborhood just working for other people. People would come to our door and be like, oh, we're here to pick up Grandma Gasima. And I'm like, who is this person? Right? But she'd know who they are and then go with them happily and just like make money. My mother and father have been working forever. They're both in retirement now, but they've worked hard. My mother was a nurse. My father was Navy and then went to become a janitor actually first and then finally became a mailman and just worked. And they had both great work ethic. My father is that person who's like, you should be like 30 minutes early to work. If you are on time, you are super late. And my mother, she's an RN. She just worked all the time. And then she also had side businesses to help us. She was, she knew my godmother, one of my godmothers, and she did real estate. And, she's like, oh, I should learn about that too, because I feel like that would be a great investment for the future. My mother worked really hard, no matter what. Same thing with my father. And then so my brother and I, we just grew up like, you got to achieve, which isn't always necessarily a bad thing. But then here's where it breaks down. There's these many things, right? So I feel like an Asian woman, sometimes it's very hard for me to say no to authority, right? To put up boundaries because I want to prove that I can get it done, right? So we've circled back to, that means sometimes I won't ask for what I need if they don't give it to me, because then I feel like, oh, I should be able to do this anyway then, right? If they didn't give this to me, like I need to make this work. I need to find out without any sort of complaining, which those are the aspects we need to take away. We need to decipher between, are we complaining or are we asking for what we need? You know what I mean? And being a good worker shouldn't mean that there are no boundaries between your work life and your home life, right? Because then that's not, what? That's crazy. You see all these people getting text messages or phone calls from their bosses like 24 hours, like a freaking day. And they might not even be like full time. They're just part-time people trying to work and live their lives. And so it's very, thank you. I lost my train of thought. It's crappy. It's stupid. People shouldn't be working in those kind of conditions, right? When we're working, we are working and we are doing our best. And when we're not working, we shouldn't be like hounded to do all these different things that aren't in our job descriptions, or again, off hours. And so again, we really just have to look at the practices that we're doing. And I think as Asian Americans who really value a work ethic, like good work ethic, we need to see how that's translating, especially now when, we're trying to progress as a society. We're trying to be better. We're trying to get, right, more workers' rights. We're trying to get better health insurance for everyone. We're trying to be people who are able to be on a living wage and not always just struggling paycheck to paycheck, right? We want to push our society so like money, poverty isn't like a normal thing. And we're like, oh yeah, that's frequent. Oh, but that's just life. No, right? When we want to progress people and we want to progress our society, that means we should be taking care of our people and taking care of our society. And even though we may be Asian Americans and we may have learned very different behaviors and different beliefs around work. Again, we need to look at what was taught to us and see, is that way of thinking helpful right now or is it not? What are the things that I need to leave in the past and what are the things that I need to carry into the future in regards to work ethic, right? I'm not saying everyone just don't work and crap out, whatever. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, having a good work ethic, having goals, being able to work towards your goals and find happiness and find pride and accomplishment in that is great. Not being able to set boundaries, letting, people walk all over you, not getting the respect you deserve, letting other people being acknowledged for your work, that crap needs to go away. Because we do work hard and we do deserve to be valued, which means people need to respect our boundaries. People need to pay us a living wage, the correct amount of money. Everybody, share your salaries and what you make, okay? It's fine. Just do it so that we can all get paid more equally, and we need to be treated with respect. The whole, it sucks because I really do like being loyal. I like staying in places and finding a home there. But I have to know that when I go into an organization, into a company that, and honest, even if they say that, they do care about me and things are going to be like a family and stuff like that, the loyalty of my employers and stuff are to the company and not to me. It's just not. So, I can have some loyalty towards them, but not to where I'm blind about how I'm being treated. Not to where I'm blind about how my coworkers are being treated. Yeah. And I think that's something that's been indoctrinated into us, especially the American work society, right? Loyalty is a big thing, but it's just no, let's look at the past. How many times have workers been crapped over by these big companies? And that's also our current future, our present now, right? People are being worked to the bone and not paid well, not compensated. People don't care about them. People like to say oh no, I care about you, but I really need you to do this. I need you to follow this shift here. And I do appreciate you. And it's great. And right. And then that's it. And then there's no extra pay. There's no real care for your mental health. They'll just push you as far as you can until either you start resisting or you break down. That's not really care. I understand, there are people in places, some managers where it's just they're also doing the best they can and they also might be running ragged. But just because they're doing it, that does not mean that you should be living that way too. Because when we're able to not live that way, we shouldn't. And some people, unfortunately, are, but a lot of us are not. And we should have better choices and we should ask for more choices. Again, there's this whole anti-work movement going on, and there are a lot of people on social media. And social media and media in general, they just like to talk about drama and crap like that and probably explode things way worse than they are or spin it a certain way for views, right? just so we're all aware, that's a real thing. But you see employers getting really mad, no one wants to work, no one wants to do this, and it's no, really, people do want to work. They just want to work a living wage. They don't want to be treated again like poo-poo. They don't want to be disrespected over and over. They don't want to see as these little minions, or these people are just you have to earn respect and blah blah blah. I'm this is supposed to be an exchange. I do my work and then you pay me. This is it's that. I don't know why respect isn't innately built into this. It's odd. So how we work, who we work for, what we allow to happen to us, how we are valued at work and how that's shown to us is very important. All that is important. So these things are the things that we should be thinking about. And I do think about this a lot as a child of immigrants. I think about this a lot, not just like financially, but really in general. What are the things that, my parents taught me, the things that really worked for them, the things that they had to do? And what are the things that I can continue because it's helpful and it helps me progress? It helps other Filipinos, other Asians progress. And what are the things that don't? Things we learned in 2020 if we didn't already know them: silence and violence, right? If you're not saying anything, that means you're complicit with the system. Are you? If you're not, then you need to start speaking up. And I know that's scary. And the thing is, like, no one wants to do it because everyone like needs their job and stuff. But again, we're just repeating crappy patterns if we're accepting abuse, if we're accepting mistreatment in our workplaces. So again, just like really think about it. Know your worth. You are a hard worker. You really do deserve to be valued and treated with respect. Yay, and that's it for today. I'm going to eat my salad because I'm hungry. Okay, wonderful. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for letting me stand where I'm sitting in front of you and just say all my thoughts and feelings. But there are things that I feel really strongly about this. I feel like everyone should be able to work for a living wage. I don't see how it's possible, honestly, to have good mental health if all you're doing is surviving the whole time. If all you're doing is working from paycheck to paycheck. If all you're doing is trying to just like survive in poverty. How are we supposed to do that? So if we want to tackle our mental health, if we want better mental health for everyone, we need to look at all these other parts of our life, other parts of our society. Okay. Again, thank you for being with me. Tomorrow I'm streaming again at 12:30 p.m. PT. That's difficult. I will be streaming about living with CPTSD. I hope to see you there. If not, I hope to see you next week. My next Asian mental health talk. Thanks, guys. Really, really thank you. I really do appreciate all the support and all like the messages and everything. Like, thank you for being here. Thank you. Okay. Bye. Oh, how do I exit out? Okay, I got it.